Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Momentum Chat. I am your host, Majida Bay, your financial conductor. I help parents and professionals to get on the right financial track to success. And tonight, my co-host, it will be here shortly. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. Have you ever thought about whether you should stay or should you go? Well, tonight we're going to have a conversation about that. So stay tuned in, and we'll be getting started very soon. Good evening, good evening. Once again, I am Majida Bay, your financial conductor. I set parents and professionals on the right financial track to success. And I'm usually joined by my co-host, Mr. John Epting, senior financial broker with 20 years of experience in the financial services industry. He had a little car trouble tonight, so he's going to definitely try to join us a bit later. So I'm running solo tonight. This is a new experience for me, but I'm going to do my best, all right? I usually have my co-host to answer all the questions, and I get to ask them. But tonight, I'm going to just have a conversation with you all and hopefully add some value to you. And I do have some information to share with you about an event we have coming up tomorrow night that we definitely want you to have the information for. So the topic for tonight is, should you stay or should you go? And I'm no relationship expert, so this is not a conversation about relationships, but it's really about assessing whether where you are right now in your life requires you to make a pivot. With everything that's transpired over the past year, it's important to be able to assess, right? To be able to assess whether what you're doing currently is helping you get closer to where it is you want to be, or whether you need to make a shift to get to where you need to be. And so tonight's topic, I was thinking about, the idea of staying in a job, right? Or changing careers, right? Whenever you want to make that transition in life, how do you assess whether it's the right decision? And I'm sharing that because I've had some reflections myself just about where I am personally and professionally. And one of the things that has definitely come to mind is the idea that I don't want to not give my best effort. All right, whatever I'm doing, I want to be able to give my best. And so, has anyone ever felt like you're not giving your all to your job, or you're not giving your all, your performance may be dwindling? And if that's the case, that may be a time to step back, reassess. Am I doing what I'm purposed to be doing? Am I doing what I am called to do? Yes, yes. You can say hi to the people. You can say hi. Say hi. No, you don't want to say hi. Okay. And so in thinking about that, this month we've been talking about business, right? The importance of positioning yourself to be able to control your income, to have freedom and things like that. And so if you're working a job and you're feeling frustrated, you're stressed, you're worried, and all of those things, what are some things that you do, or what are some ways that you are assessing how you can transition out of that, how you can move forward? If you're like me, I just don't like staying stuck. No matter where I am, I don't like feeling stuck. And so I look for ways to grow. I look for ways to challenge myself to get better. And if you've ever felt like, oh, you know what, I could care less, right? It's not a good feeling, and that's one of the things that I've definitely been reflecting on in my own life, is that if what I'm doing is not bringing me joy, or if what I'm doing isn't requiring my best effort, or I'm not willing to give my best effort, then I probably need to rethink what it is that I'm doing. Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. All right, just give me a minute. All right, here. So, how have you in your life transitioned? How have you made a decision to move in a different direction, whether it's for your health, or for income, or for more fulfillment, whatever the case may be? What are some ways that you've been able to transition out of where you are to get closer to where it is you want to be? And in order to do that, it's definitely important to know where it is you want to go. One of the things that I've recognized in my own life is that I I need to be fulfilled, but I also need to be growing. I have to be in a space where I can be challenged, but I can also use my creativity in order to help me to utilize the skills and gifts and talents that I've garnered over the years. And when I'm not in that space, I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel like I'm doing um, or giving the service that is required of me. I don't feel like I'm giving my best to what I'm doing, and so it's time for me to change. And so, has anyone else ever felt like that? Like you're not feeling or that you're not doing purposeful work or meaningful work? And what are some ways that you can transition out of that? What are some things that you can do to position yourself? Could you develop a new skill? Could you um, engage in a new industry, shift careers? And there's a difference between leaving, right? I did want to have that conversation, between leaving versus growing, right? I don't believe in running away from things, but I think at times if I'm faced with some resistance, I'm quick to like, I don't have to be here. Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, I don't want to be involved, right? But sometimes that resistance is showing us that that's an area that we can grow in. Other times, it's the resistance that's telling us, hey, that's not where we need to be. But you got to be able to assess that. And so, are you running away from growth or change, or are you running towards fulfillment and joy and peace, happiness, right? All of those intangible things. John and I actually talked about this last week. The idea that the money is is a small thing, right? If you're working for money, like you're not going to get fulfillment from that. If you're working for the stuff, right, the big house, the cars, like those things don't give you fulfillment. But when you're doing work that's engaging, that's helping people, that's serving others, you definitely get a different level of fulfillment from that. Prime example: a little over a year ago, I joined an organization called Womb, woman owned. John's coming on. I don't have to be by myself. Welcome, John. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
What's up?
Not much. I was sitting here keeping the people entertained till you showed up.
Yeah, right. I'm sure you're giving them great value. So no, it's awesome. Cool.
That's tough though, just to talk like by yourself to right. And I'm not a talker, so like it's a little tough. But I was trying to keep things moving, make sure we start on time and stay
I appreciate
consistent.
that.
So
Please forgive me
I
for my
appreciate
tardiness.
you.
Yeah,
Say
please
again.
forgive me for my tardiness. I had hey, other duties as a husband and father that need to be handled. And as you know, my first role in my life is husband, father, and man of God. So but yeah.
Absolutely.
So I apologize for being late, all you people. You guys look great. Glad you made it.
Well, I definitely respect that about you. You always you gotta take care of home first, right?
Absolutely.
So hope
Yeah.
everything all worked out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Everything's perfectly fine. Just need to take care of some things. My young niece is out to sea with the United States Navy. So thank you for all the people who serve our country in uniform. But just handling some things for her, and things kind of went further than we expected. So I needed to step in and make sure some some things were taken care of. But thank God I got good relationships. People take care of me. If you take care of people, they take care of you. So
absolutely.
the young man who owns the shop in which we take the car to. I mean, oh my gosh, love this guy. So if you're in Virginia Beach, go to the Ship's Corner service station. The owner there is an incredible guy. Those guys are. I mean, it's hard to find. No offense, but I've been blessed, but it's hard to find mechanics who are honest,
Mm,
who won't try to tell you to replace something you don't need to replace just yet. And I mean, these guys they tell you the deal. So I love them and been going there for a number of years. And I got a different set of mechanics for every car. So yeah, take my Hondas to another guy, take my Toyota to another, take my Hyundai to something else. I mean, but yeah.
Well, we're definitely glad you could join us. I'm sure they got tired of me talking.
No, I'm quite sure they like hearing you talk. They're probably tired of hearing me talk, but
Well, the topic that I wanted to discuss tonight, John, was I titled it "Should You Stay or Should You Go?" And I thought about that in terms of we were talking last week about business, or going into business for your freedom or for happiness or whatever the case may be.
yeah,
But just wanted to give people some ideas of what are the signs, what are the red flags, if you will, that like it's time to shift, it's time to move in a different direction. I was sharing, for myself, about a little over a year ago, I joined an organization called Womb, and at that time, I was in a mental space where like I wanted to be around other women entrepreneurs. I wanted to increase my associations, right? I wanted associations of values, so things that were going to add value to my life. And so that was an intentional move, right? Like I need to surround myself, and I'm an introvert, so like naturally, I was like, I want to be around people. But it was intentional that like, all right, I need to get around people who can help me to grow.
yep,
Because I'm just like I'm that type of person. I just need to grow. I need to be challenged. I need to right. I need to be able to be creative and all those things. And so when you're thinking about making a transition, whether it's into another career or leaving a job, what are some things that you can um, look for? Like, what are some signs that will help you to decide, like, yes, it's time to make a move. It's time to make a transition.
yeah. There's not a set thing. You can't. I wish I could say, oh, these are the things. I think it's almost different for everyone. I'm a praying man, and because I have a good relationship with God, not just a religion, He speaks to me. Sometimes through people, through circumstances such as that. I mean, so even me, I'm having some transitions right now in my life. So the things I've looked for is, let's just go to people. Let's say we're dealing with people, right?
Okay.
And in ministry type of situations, one of the things we in a leadership position, we don't want to keep people in a position so long that they start despising the very people they are serving.
Mm.
That means you're burned out. That means you're uh, right when you stop caring for the people, when you stop caring for about what you're doing. Right now, don't get me wrong. Every single solitary thing you ever do, has some not so cool things that go with them.
Yeah.
Right. When you're in the military, you may have to deploy. That's not so cool a thing. Although that is a cool thing, it can kind of get tiring because you're leaving your family, right? If you're a nurse, you have to, unfortunately, you see people die, right? Or, I mean, so every business, every job has a thing and I just say it goes along with that job, right? I'm not talking about
Mm-hmm.
those things. Those things just go along with whatever profession or thing you decided to do. I'm talking about things that there was a time when you were excited to go do it and now you're not. And I'm not talking about
Mm-hmm.
because it's Thursday. I'm talking about right and you didn't sleep well and you ate bad the night before and now you're feeling. No, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about there's a constant thing where this is a drag. You're just going through the motions. You're not growing. And a lot of times people are looking for outside things to have them growing. When one of the things I love and respect about you, Majid, is you look for ways to grow and you come out of your comfort zone to do it.
Yeah.
Some people want growth to be easy. Some people want growth to just come to them. Right? I can't tell you how many people would just love for somebody else to read the book to them. That's not even true growth, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those are the type of things I look for. I look for, do I still love it? Do I
Mm-hmm.
am I trying, like, what's the picture behind the money? What's the picture behind, like, what is the thing? Hopefully it's not money because that will leave you very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was about the money, I wouldn't. Sometimes the amount of money I make on a deal is so minute. man, thank God I love the people. Thank God I love what I'm doing. Thank God I
Yeah.
see where they can go. I love casting the vision of where they could go and creating the space in their brain of what's possible. That crap is so fun to me. I just finished meeting with a client earlier today. New clients, just met them. I did an event on Saturday. They were there, and then they wanted to meet with me almost immediately, right? So, but my first opening was Saturday today, and just great talking with them and seeing the light bulb go off over their head. That gives me a high, right?
Hmm.
But I ain't make no money, but that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Because there's also, when it comes to that light bulb coming over somebody's head, for me, when I'm doing what I'm doing, there's also this level of peace that comes across them too,
Hmm.
and it just, I don't know, it's just it's a beautiful thing for me to see somebody actually, one, find hope, two, now they believe they can do better. There's a better thing, right? And because now they have this level of knowledge, they of course still don't have all of my knowledge, but they have another piece to the puzzle, right? If those things were missing, maybe it's time for me to move on.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for, if you started a job, like my wife just started a new endeavor, right? And this is kind of a bucket list thing for her. And it wasn't even supposed to be a job, but my wife is a freaking rock star, so it became a job. It was going to be a volunteer thing, and she's such an incredible woman. Now people want to pay her, right? In a field she had no experience. No freaking experience, right? But my wife's a rock star, right? I married way up. So she's excited to get up every day, and she got to get up freaking early. And this is a woman who hates getting up early. She's excited to get up, right? You don't have to worry about her getting up. Yeah, she doesn't have to. The snooze doesn't get used. Yeah, she's up. She's getting dressed. She's making her way. Blah blah blah. And that's a sign that she's still in her sweet spot. And if I know her, even when the tough days come, it's still going to be that type of thing because we just have a mindset for that, right? But then
Yeah.
there'll become a time where maybe it's time for her to move on or maybe up her game, right? I think it's this one too. If you're constantly growing in that position, if you're constantly learning new things, learning new strategies and whatever you're doing, the day when it comes, the day when it is time for you to move on, you don't even have to
Mhm.
think about it.
Mm.
It's when you're not growing, you start thinking maybe this has come to an end, and it ain't come to an end. You just came to an end. Because you're not moving.
Yeah.
You know. I hope I'm making
No,
sense.
no, absolutely, absolutely. And these topics kind of come from my own brain. Some of the things that I'm thinking through myself,
Yeah.
and I was sharing with the founder of the organization that I joined, Womb, earlier today. Like I'm just in that space where like I don't get the same fulfillment out of some of the work that I do. So like I have to start setting some boundaries. I have to start saying no to some things because I don't feel like I'm giving. I think I shared that with you
Yep.
last week when we met,
Yep. Last week.
that I don't feel like I'm giving my best effort.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I
That
don't
was
like feeling like that.
last Friday we
Say,
met up. I think it was
mm-hmm,
last Friday we met up, and I remember our conversation in reference to that. But hearing it is concerning at first, right? But it's
right,
really cool if somebody knows what to do afterwards. Like once you figure out that, okay, maybe it's time for me to move on to this, right? And because I'm a big proponent that if you're still part of an organization, you're still part of something, you can't badmouth it, right? If you're still part of the
mm-hmm,
team, you can't badmouth it, you can't demean it, and you still need to give them what you signed up that you were going to give them. But start
right,
creating an exit strategy. So I can't tell you how many times that we've had people who, let's say military or whatever the case may be, and they work part time with our firm, but you still signed up to serve and do whatever you're doing where you are. Give them what they deserve, right? You don't start giving them a mediocre performance because you've mentally checked out. No, that right. I always believe that when you leave an organization, when you leave something, you want them hurt that you're leaving, for one, and then you want other people who are there wanting to follow you. That's how you know you left on a high note.
I don't know if I'm there yet.
I know. Whatever. I'm just giving some insight, right? So you don't want when you put your 2 weeks in at some job or some organization that you're a part of, that they're like, good riddance.
Yeah.
Right. Or I've seen this before. And of course there's some security stuff involved in this one. But you put your 2 weeks in and they let you go that day. That's not a good sign. That means you weren't really performing. They didn't even want time to replace you.
Yeah.
You weren't bringing much value to the deal anyway. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're in a security type of world where you got a security clearance and there's some things that could kind of get nasty in that last 2 weeks, okay, I can understand them sending you home for that. But you say, I'll put my 2 weeks in, and the next day they're like, hey, you ain't got to come back. That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
And I've heard people brag about that. And to me, it's not good. It's like, I don't know. They didn't find you of much value anyway. Right? If I was to leave it, I remember when I left the Navy, I worked all the way up to my last day in the Navy, March 30th, 2002. And months after, almost teetering into a year, I was still getting calls to take care of something, give insight on something, right? And that's not to brag on me, but I performed my entire time, and I worked my last day in the Navy. I even worked all the way up to 5 o'clock for us civilians, right? So it was almost 5 o'clock when I left, and even the people there were like, "Bro, you should have left a long time ago. You didn't have to." Yeah, you're right. I didn't have to stay, but there was a job to complete, a job to finish, right?
Yeah.
Some auditing. I wasn't gonna leave my desk, and there's still some auditing to be done. So I made sure it got done. Make sure. So what that's always done for me, that when I leave something, from my first marriage to the Navy or whatever, I can leave and totally turn the page and start writing a new chapter. I don't think about woulda, shoulda, coulda. Oh man, what if I had? I don't have those. I leave. I'm done.
Oh no, that's good. That's good. And I mean, I think it's like you said, whether it's a job or career or marriage or relationship,
like, whatever. If you're part of some sports team or whatever, make sure you leave. And I think that's a character thing.
Yeah.
That's a character thing, that when you leave, you want people still talking about you in a good way when you leave. Like, man, Majida was awesome, man. We're going to miss her, that type of deal. But then also you want some of the other, just people, I'll say it that way, right? Saying, man, I want to go with her. I wonder what her next move is.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to be a part of that next move. Right.
Or just curious about it. Like, well, I wonder what she's going to be doing,
curious.
you know? Yeah.
Put you to the side and like, hey, what are you going to do next, right? Because most people leave stuff at a low note. So everybody expected you to leave. But when you leave on a high note, they're wondering, what? Like, you got everything going for you here. So why would you leave, right? When you leave like that, it makes everybody curious.
That's cool. Now, what would you say is the difference between like leaving to pursue something greater, to challenge yourself, to grow, versus running away? Right. I was sharing earlier that sometimes when I meet resistance, I'm like, I don't want to be bothered. You know, whether it's person or relationship or whatever. Right. Like I meet some resistance, I like being challenged, but like certain things that I don't like being challenged on, right? I don't like my integrity being challenged, right? I don't like my character being challenged.
Yeah. Well, see,
And
that's where the line is, right? And it's a
mm,
thin line. It's a thin line. It's a big difference between quitting,
yeah,
right, and bringing something to an end, right?
like
And I
that.
believe it's the mindset of a person, but then also the people who hear it, right? Some people can hear that I left the Navy at 10, 9 years and see that was as quitting, but I left at the top of
Mm,
my game. So was it quitting, or was I getting ready to write a new chapter, right? And I believe it's quitting when, like I said, you left on a low note.
mm-hmm.
You didn't have much going on. They were going to kick you out anyway. You know, that type of deal. Right. All right. That's quitting because you could have just upped your game, upped your performance, upped your stuff, and then they would have wanted to keep you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's still a thin line. And I believe that thin line is really character.
Mm,
It's just character. You know, what is it that are you looking to accomplish here? Um, and yeah, a lot of times people tough times come, they just and it's so funny. I hear this stuff all the time too. That a tough time come and they'll be like, "Oh, that wasn't for me,"
mm.
or well, I don't think the Lord wanted me to be doing that. Well, didn't you talk to him before you started? So is the Lord schizophrenic? I don't get it, right? And yeah, and sometimes people just get involved in stuff and then they don't see it all the way through. And I believe those are the people who end up regretting.
Mm.
See, when you leave something too soon, right? Or you just quit something because the times got tough or you saw something
Yeah.
that didn't fit, right? As long as it's still legal, ethical, moral, it's not, challenging you to step outside of who you are, right? Um, you should give it your all. So that way you can at least know. Let's say you give it your all, you put it all out, right? You left everything on the court, and then you leave. You never think about that again. You never think about, oh, I could have,
Yeah.
oh, you don't think about that, right? I don't think about that I don't think about that with the Navy. I don't think about that with my first marriage. I gave it my all. I did everything I could, right? So when I left, I don't think about that, right? And I think that's the. I want to ask everybody a question. Has anything ever received all of you? I'll ask again. Has anything ever received all of you? Probably not. So therefore, you can't assess how much is really in you.
Mm.
I just noticed, and hopefully you hear my heart. I'm here in 2020, but it's been like this for a number of years. In 2020, 2021, I'm noticing that people have too many options.
Mm.
So what do I mean by that? Most people don't stick out relationships anymore, whether it be marriage, friendships, or whatever the case may be. Soon as one little casualty happened, one little disagreement, we live in a cancel culture. We just cancel people out. And we cancel people out that we know physically for people we will never meet. That doesn't make sense to me. Right? Look at the political world. We got people canceling out family members because they disagree politically. That doesn't even make sense. Right? So the person that if something went down in my life, matter of fact, you are a perfect person. It's great we're talking. Right? Things have gone down in my life, and we don't agree on everything. Would you agree? We don't agree on everything. Right?
I
But
agree
things
that
have,
we don't.
yeah, you agree that we don't. You understand
Yes.
what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, some interesting things have gone down in my life, right? Okay. What if we had canceled our relationship, right, because of those things? But when my daughter passed away, you were right there for me. You were
Mm.
right there to help. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
those types of things, right? To the point that, you know, you named your baby, right? Her middle name is my daughter who passed away's name.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's how close we are. That's already, but we don't agree on everything in our world today, right? And that's probably because of our level of maturity and things like that. But I'm just noticing people canceling people out and all that type of stuff, and that's just so crazy to me, right? Link arms with the people that's close to you in your life. Has anything received all of you, right? I actually heard a guy say, "How do you kill a man with a dream? You give him a second one.
Mm.
You totally take his focus." Yeah. Right? He was focused on this dream. He was focused on this one, and then you threw another one in there. Now he's not
Divided. Yeah.
he's divided. He doesn't know, right? So guess what? Both of those dreams are gonna escape because you can't chase both.
Mm-hmm.
You got to focus everything you got into the one you want, right? Hey, sweetie.
Hi.
Smile. Can you smile for me?
No.
There it is. There's that smile. Awesome.
Mommy, I'm not in a happy mood because I wanted to do practice.
Oh, all right. It's all right. We'll practice later this week.
Yeah.
When are we
But
gonna
yeah,
practice?
I just noticed people don't give everything their all. Like, tough time coming in your marriage, tough time coming in your relationship with your significant other, right? That's not the time to disconnect or create distance. That's the time to bring in closer, right? I remember growing up as a child, and probably everybody's experienced this, that when our children would mess up, our children would be need to be disciplined, right? They had this thing called timeout. Now, my mom never had no timeout, right? We got something else, right? But but she did do stuff like this: send me to my room,
Mm-hmm.
right? Send your children. That's the wrong time to be sending them away. When they need to be disciplined, that's the time you bring them close and you coach them, you educate them, right? Because think of what that does in a child's mind. Every time I do something bad, you're gonna send me away. Every time I disappoint you, you're gonna distance from me.
Mm-hmm.
When that's the time to bring them to closer. And I promise you, I didn't learn this from my first child. I totally screwed that up, and right? Because sometimes you just mimic what your parents did,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then over time, my wife and I learned what's the right things to do, right? So I don't have to spank, I don't have to raise my voice. I can come down to your level, right? It's so funny. My godson, so one of my godsons, when his mom if he acts up, especially in church or something, his mom will bring him to me, and I just have a conversation with him. I get down on my knee, right? Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I got a good dry cleaner, so we don't worry about the slacks and stuff. But I get down on my knee to his level. Thank God I don't have to get as low anymore. He's getting big, right? But I have a conversation with him, right? We set out some guidelines. We set out some standards. He understands, right? My tone doesn't have to change or anything. Maybe once in his life, my tone has changed with him, right? But boom, 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 he gets back on track. The cool thing at this point, he asks some really cool questions in reference to the discipline I'm giving him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which makes me have to get good in my articulation, right? And then I walk him back to his mom, right? We dap it up. And his mom always looks at me and is like, "What did you say?" It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Mm.
Right? But I never send him away. I bring him close. Does that make sense?
I like that. Yeah, no, I like that. And that question too. I love that question. Has any? I've heard you ask that before, and that's something that I've been conscious of. Over the past few years, is just being present. Right? Like you can't give your all if you're not present. Right? If you're divided, and I find my brother-in-law and my brother and I had a little mastermind a few weeks ago, and we talked about what our blind spots were, what our weaknesses were. And one of the things that they pointed out for me is like my boundaries, right? I have a difficult time setting boundaries because I just say yes to everybody, right? Somebody needs some help, yes. Right? Somebody needs, we support, yes. And being clear about what I want to support, right? I can support a lot of things, but what do I want to support?
Mm-hmm.
And the work that I'm doing.
For me, is what I'm called to support. I have a calling. I have a purpose in my life, right? So I'm walking my life on purpose, for a purpose, right? And it's a lot of cool stuff I hear about. And oh my God, that I have a bleeding heart for so much crap, right? But am I called to be a part of that, right? Because sometimes when you get involved in too much stuff, you're hindering somebody else's blessing. God called them for that, and now you're trying to go do it for them. And he ain't called them. He didn't even gift you for it. Right? He didn't gift me for everything. So certain things he gifted me for, right? But the things I am gifted for, I have to make sure I'm giving it my all. Am I all in? Right? And I'm just noticing not many people are all in on anything, from their jobs to relationships to even raising them their own children. They're not all in. They hand that responsibility off to someone else. And that's when you get to the later in your life and you have all these regrets. I believe people don't really regret what they do. I think they regret what they don't do. Yeah. The stuff you do, even if it fails, even if it blows up, you learn something. You experienced it. Yeah. My daughter's talking about a pretty huge experience, right? She turned 16 on Thursday. But in the next couple of years, she's talking about a really, 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 really big experience. So her and I went and looked at some things for it to transpire and things like that. And so, long story short, I even educated her as we were leaving the place where we were, and I said, "Hey, let's remember, if mommy and daddy decide to pull the trigger and support this endeavor, remember when you have children, you won't have the moral, and they decide they want to do something similar, you don't have the moral authority to stop them." Right? And the cool thing about my daughter, she had even already thought that part out. She had even thought about that. She said, "Yep, thought about that." And she said, "Yeah, didn't like the idea at first, but then," right? Because we have to remember, our children don't do what we say; they do what we do.
Right. Oh, so true. And I think, that's one of the things that I'm finding, like, because I feel divided, what I believe, like you said, I'm called to do or what I need to be doing, I'm not investing the time that I want to invest or I need to invest to cultivate that relationship or cultivate that thing, whatever it may be, whether it's my business or my relationship with my children, so I'm finding myself not being able to give my all to the things that I'm supposed to be giving my all to. And so that's what's really, causing those wheels to turn and, that reflection to happen to say that, I've got to set some boundaries. I got to make some decisions because I can't continue in this space where I'm constantly trying to give everybody a part and they're not getting the best. They're not getting.
So if I'm hearing right, that's where brother-in-law saw that you don't know how to set boundaries very good. Yeah. Hey, isn't it cool to have somebody in your life that you love and trust enough that can share with you your blind spots?
Oh, for sure.
And then have the humility to take it in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's another lost thing in our world.
To actually, on that point, right? It's not a blind spot, right? It's a weakness because I'm well aware that I don't set boundaries.
Okay.
He's like, I don't think it's really a blind. Yeah, it's not a blind spot, but it is a weakness. It's an area of growth, an area of opportunity, if you will. And it's something that I want to work on. You know, I realize that I like to help, right? I like to be helpful. But like you said, I'm not called to do everything for everyone, right? Like that's just not my role. Sometimes because I can help, I believe I should help, but that's being more clear about what I'm purposed to do. And that's still something like to be completely honest, it's still something that I'm working on. Like, you know, like I feel like, well, maybe I'm purposed to help, maybe I'm purposed to support.
Right.
But I do know that I have a greater vision for my own life, you know, things that I do want to accomplish personally, but that I'm not gonna say it pales in comparison to like the support that I can offer others, but it's not like I don't have this grandiose dream of, you know, grandeur, and you know, like I'm pretty simple in that regard. I don't need a lot of stuff. I don't there's some experiences I want to have, but beyond that, I really just want to serve people,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Your aim is, I believe you want to be the best version of yourself, but
Yeah.
a big one in you, an innate thing in you is you want to be significant.
Mm.
Many people are searching for success. When I believe you should be significant. Like, does your life matter? Right. So
Yeah.
I know about you, your life matters first now. But as you continue to move and grow and expand yourself, come out of your comfort zone, challenge yourself, you just become more significant.
Mm.
You stay in a bubble. You can stay in a bubble and become successful, but it's very hard to stay in a bubble and become significant.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I want my life to matter. I want to know that when I pass away, many lives are better because I walk the planet.
Mm.
Um,
And I
so,
actually I had a conversation last week with a gentleman who's a coach, and I was sharing with him, you know, that I call myself the financial conductor because I just
right.
want to direct people, right? I want to get them on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was just like, I'm like the Harriet Tubman of finance, right? I just show you the path
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get you to freedom, you know, financial freedom, but I just show
Mhm.
you the path. And sometimes, like when I think about her life, you know, and what she accomplished, I don't necessarily like she wasn't the she was the conductor, right? She was on the railroad, she was leading people, and but she's remembered, right? Not because she had a certain amount of pedigree or because she, you know, was in politics or any of that stuff. She just
Mhm.
did the work that she was called to do. And that's kind of how, you know, I want to be remembered. Just I help guide people, I help move them in a better direction, I help them get to like I said, move the needle in their life and get closer to where they want to be. And so, you know, in making decisions, you know, kind of back to the topic, you know, in making those transitions in life, you know, you may find yourself in a space where you're you arrived at this particular place and maybe you don't, you know how you got there, or you got there and you're trying to figure out whether you should be there. And
Mhm.
anywhere that I've been, I've always tried to look at it as a learning experience. Like, what can I learn here? How can I
Yeah.
grow here?
Yeah.
And there's always, I believe there's always room for you to grow and learn and get better. Um, but part of that is, do you have the desire, right? You know, when I got into finance, it was just like, oh my gosh, like there's this whole world that I don't know anything about. And
A lot.
so it's a lot, you know, but even in finance, there are certain things that I have no interest in wanting to learn, right? Not that I can't learn it, but
Mhm.
it just doesn't interest me. You
Yeah.
know, I want basic fundamental concepts, principles that anybody can learn and teach. And I want to share those because I
Yes.
can reach more people. I can, you know, I can, yeah, reach the masses with those fundamental things. You know, the stuff that's a little more complex and convoluted, my brain doesn't, I don't know if it has the capacity to like
It
take
does.
all of that in. I'm sure over time, right? Like I
It
can
does.
take it all in.
I
But
know those things, as you know, but a lot of it came out of need. I'll end up learning it because I had clients who came to me with these situations, and I had
mm-hmm.
to, in order to help them, in order to conduct them, send them on the right track, I need to know
Yeah.
it. And it really just happened as my reputation grew and people knew I could, you know, as some people would say, get money to dance. Once I could do that, you know, the referrals became different. You know,
mm-hmm.
who they were sending me, you know, the numbers were different and stuff like that. And then those people do have another type of need.
Very true.
They still need to know the basics of what you're talking about, but they have another need. They have a need where to save money on taxes in a different way or something like that. So
Right.
it became very fun to learn those things, but it really came out of need, right? And I wanted to still be able to serve those people. So I, you know,
I
lock myself in a room and learn that stuff for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or 3 days, or whatever it took, and make phone calls to different companies and different providers and all that different stuff. So
yeah.
yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
think that's kind of in the space that I'm in now, because of the experience that we had last year with going virtual and having to, serve in
Hmm.
a different capacity. I have a greater desire to be of greater service to my client and to those that I'm looking to serve in the future. So that's part of it too. Like I don't want to give my clients half of me or, just kind of make it transactional. Like I don't want that to be the case. And so
Yeah,
I have to make myself more available. I have to be more I have to be more available to them and I have to be able to serve them in a greater capacity. And I can only do that if I'm not chasing two dreams, two rabbits. And so
yeah,
I'm excited about, making that transition and,
yeah. It's gonna be a big one.
I look,
I believe you're ready. There's been transitions in your life thus far, and your level of growth, specifically over the last 18 months, has just been so incredible that yeah, it's time. It's time.
yeah,
It's time. So we're in very short order, right? Your life's gonna change in a different way, and but I believe there's gonna be so many other people that benefit from that.
absolutely.
That
No, I
their life is gonna
definitely-
be better because of their affiliation with you. So I'm excited for you, and it's funny that you talk about the hey, when do you know when it's time to go or when it's time to. There's so many different things I could say in reference to that, right? But you got to know within you. But just make
yeah,
sure you know you're not just copying out. Like I know what we're talking about for you, definitely not a cop out. But I can't tell you how many times I've been in front of people and they give me a scenario like this, and I just ask them simple questions. And by question number 3 or 4, they can tell and I can tell they're just copying out,
yeah.
right? You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I had a bad day, yes, or I had a bad year. No, you had a 20 minutes and you milked it. Yeah, that's really the facts. And I mean, I always go back to my military time because I learned so much in my military time. How, I wonder how many lives would not even exist anymore if we only moved as a unit when we felt like it or when everything went right. I hate to tell you, a lot of times, especially when we're downrange, things did not go right.
Mm,
Right? You know, you're on foreign soil somewhere. You can't give up, or you're not coming home. But can you imagine if we just gave up because something got tough, or it didn't go the way the higher up said it was gonna go, or man, we almost had it in our mind that it's not gonna go the way the higher up said it was gonna go. So yeah, it's just how I guess how I think, which we can actually make you a strong entrepreneur because you're already ready for the stuff that's going to go wrong.
Mm. Well, speaking of that, we actually wanted to share with our audience that tomorrow night, it's 7 o'clock Pacific time, so 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
There's an event going on where two leaders within our industry, within our firm, are going to be sharing some fun, right? Like these guys are, they're studs, right? they're the best.
Yeah. But they're going to be opportunity for people.
Absolutely.
Not just knowledge, opportunity for you to pull the trigger, change your life, do something different, or do something at a higher level for yourself, right? So it's not just some fly by night, rah feel good little thing, man. 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lose some sleep and get on that thing at 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, especially if I wasn't where I am today, right? But I'm gonna get on it even though I'm already with them to a degree. No, I would get on this. So I would suggest anybody and everybody take that link down, get on, right? At least see what they're looking at and what they're talking about. But two incredible guys, Daniel Fombo and Dan Charlier, two powerhouses in the financial industry, but just two incredible business leaders and leadership development gurus.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you right now, you want to change your life, you got to stop looking at the same boring stuff or what everybody else is doing, right? I used to tell my wife this a lot, right? That you don't know what you'll have a passion for until you try it. You would have never told me 21 years ago that I would have a passion for financial education and financial literacy and helping people in that way. You would have never sold that to me, right? And why? Because now I tried it. I gave it a shot. And within 6 months, I was in love. Or I was falling in love. I don't know how you would say it, but I was dang near head over heels after a while, man. And you never know. You just never know.
Yeah.
My wife is doing something totally different right now and has fell in love with it. She only been doing it for like 100 and some days. Totally fell in love with it. Right? So, and thank God we have the freedom that she can do that. Right? But can you imagine if she was just working a 9 to 5 or something? She would have never had the opportunity to even try that passion for herself.
Right.
But you don't know what you will be passionate about until you try it. Give it a shot, but give it a real shot.
That's and so true.
If it's not for you, you can turn the page and start writing a new chapter. And I believe that's what these guys help you with. So log in with us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and anywhere in between. Come be our guests, and let's see if you can find new heart. And then if you find something there, right? If they say something that intrigues you, you got a question, reach out to myself or Majida on this platform of Facebook or Instagram for me, JC Epting, or Twitter, JC Epting, and just ask us some questions. We don't bite, okay?
Not at all. Not at all. And so we definitely hope that you all will join us tomorrow night for that event. And always, you can actually take our free assessment at momentum-mentors.com to help you move forward, to help you get clear on where you want to be financially. We can assist you in that area as well. And so we definitely appreciate you all tuning in tonight, listening in. Thank you, John, for not leaving me hanging.
This would have been interesting if you had to do the whole hour by yourself.
Oh my gosh. You'd have been done 30 minutes ago.
You know what? Maybe that's something we should aim for. I believe this is fun, and I think we're giving a lot of value. Well, the feedback we get has been a lot of value for people. But yeah. maybe we need to try to get tighter and keeping this under like 25 minutes or something. I know that's kind of tough when you and I get together, but we can work on it. People, we're gonna work on it for you.
Absolutely.
We're gonna try to keep this thing under 30 minutes, man, and still give you guys a level of value. Because remember, when the value's right, the cost doesn't matter.
Right. They don't mind spending their time with us when we give them value.
Nope.
Well, certainly, we appreciate you all being with us tonight. We hope we see you next week, Tuesday, for Momentum Chat. But even more importantly, even sooner, tomorrow night, register at that link, bit.ly/new goals WFG, to just see, get some insight into what it is that we do, learn about our crusade, but learn about it from, what do you call that?
2 senior executives. 2
Yeah.
vice chairman, gurus. I mean, real talk, for real.
Yeah,
one's a
they're gonna blow. Yeah.
Well, I don't think I was supposed to say that. You know, once a Marine, always a Marine. But
well, we trust that you all have a great night, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. But also, we appreciate you all tuning in with us, engaging with us, and we look to add more value in the coming weeks. Have a great night.
Have
See
a great
you all
night.
next week.
I'll see you next time.